Hey, welcome to the channel, guys. Thanks for joining. Hey, if you find this interesting, please subscribe and give me a thumbs up. I plan to make some more trike videos along with some other interesting DIY information. Back to this video though, the ATC 250R. Guys, gals, everyone wants one, or maybe multiples of them. Some of you remember buying them new. Some, like myself, remember being able to get one for $1,000 in decent shape, be able to go riding all season, and still sell it for around the same money. Of course, that was 15 to 20 years ago. So times have changed. We're almost at the end of 2020, which has been a crazy year to begin with. And I constantly see guys talking about, what's this worth, or what's pricing on all different machines. Seems like the vintage trike market is just on fire. So I'm going to take a deeper dive and explain where my thoughts are with pricing currently on the third gen ATC 250Rs, so the liquid cooled 85 and 86 models. So first, why the ATC 250R? Well, personally, I think it's the greatest sport-based trike ever made. Now, some of you may say, oh, we've got Tri-Zs or Takati 3s or conversion trikes. And they're great, you're correct. They're all fun. But here are a couple of the quick biggest issues. Part availability. If you're going to ride them and not just let them collect dust, it's going to break. It's going to need parts. Things will break. The Tri-Zs, Takatis are very fun, but the aftermarket support is just not as big as it is for the Honda 250R. So it means less part availability, potentially more issues sourcing parts if you're going to ride the trikes. So that's reason number one. Here's the second reason, in my opinion, which honestly you could flip-flop these. The ATC 250R works extremely well. It was designed as a three-wheeler. They perform very well with little mods. Some would say, well, now you can get a brand new trike with a conversion build. That is correct, and they work okay. But if you're used to how older machinery rides, it is different. Bikes were never made to be trikes, so you're going to always have this one biggest issue that's not talked about, and it's frame to ground clearance. So when you have on a bike 12 inches of travel, and you're going to, when you have it as a trike, have less than the amount of suspension travel underneath the frame, you're going to have ground clearance issues. So I'll just leave it at that. The handling of the original 250R trikes is hard to beat. The Takati and the Tri-Z also, they handle pretty good. The bigger issue with those two machines is part availability. Okay, so now we discussed a few of those things to keep in mind, but to keep this video a little shorter and back to point, what about what you're going to have to pay for the 250R trike as of now? You first need to ask yourself a few questions. Are you looking for a mint OEM original trike? Will you be riding it, or is it for show? Or do you want a trike that's ready to ride? Doesn't have to be all OEM original, because you're going to maybe race it, go through mud, you could end up rolling down a hill, going to the dunes, it's hard to say. Or are you looking for a project trike and want to restore it? So in addition to these questions, are you mechanically inclined? Will you be able to fix it, or rebuild it, or handle any of the issues that machine may have? This is going to play a role in what you do next. If you can't do it yourself, it means you're going to have to find someone that works on them. That's all going to be an additional cost. If you do it yourself, your time is still worth money. So both variables to consider. Also, I've been told I'm a do-it-yourselfer, so I don't ever take anything anywhere hardly to be worked on. So I'm not real familiar with this, but what I've been told is it is harder to find people to actually work on the older machines. A lot of the dealers and places you can go, they just don't want to work on them. Alright, so now that we're aware of those things, there are some exceptions where either extremely good deals occur or maybe lots of money gets paid for machine. The issue with both of these is they aren't the norm. So keep in mind before you say, well, I bought mine for $500 or he paid $10,000. Those could be exceptions. Also, When was it? Was it 2 years ago, 5 years ago? Lots changed in the last 2 years alone. Okay, so another couple factors. Time of year. Is it riding season in your area? Does this machine have a title? Now, some states didn't have titles years ago, but most do now. That's going to play a big factor in the price as well. So states that didn't previously have usually do have provisions to get a title. I'm pretty familiar with that in Colorado because Colorado did not title ATVs, or was not required until 2014. So anything older than that, they actually have a pretty easy process to get a title, and that's something to consider. If you're not getting a title, make sure you still get a bill of sale, and make sure you run that VIN number to confirm there's no issues. There's good sites out there like nicb.org. You can actually do it pretty easily from your phone. I've ran many of ATV VINs, when I'm on site looking at something. So now we've discussed a couple of those variables. I've got 3 categories I see that hold pretty true currently to pricing. Also, I went all over Facebook Marketplace last night looking at the type of machines which was 250R 3-wheelers for sale, what mods they had, what kind of shape they looked like they're in, just reading the ads. Also, I've got several friends that deal with these as well, and several that I've bought and sold myself. So I've got a decent idea on what things have been bought for in the exception range and in the ranges I'm giving here. So first, you've got the fixer-uppers. That's right now looks like about $2,000 to $3,500. The price sounds pretty good, but once you consider making it rider quality, plan to spend another $1,000 to $2,000. I'm not talking OEM stuff. I'm just referring to, I can't go ride a clapped out machine. If it needs bearings and a chain sprocket, I notice every single little thing wrong with them. So just for keeping the machine safe and reliable, these trikes that are in that range, they're not going to be ready to ride. You may be able to go out and ride it, but it may not last very long. So start to think about all the things you're going to have to update that's just the normal wear tear things. That will add up. And that's okay, because then you know what you've got as well. But that's what I would expect in that range price of trike. So next you've got the middle range pricing. So not all OEM. Prices seem to be about $3,500 to $6,000. This is a larger gap, but it still comes down to how fixed up the machine is, what modifications it has. Do you like those modifications? What all work may it still need if it has any issues? That all goes into the middle range pricing of $3,500 to $6,000. So the third round would be the more OEM original machines, and those I'm seeing them from $6,000 to $10,000. Depends on condition and several variables. One of my concerns with the trikes in this range is they're probably, for myself, they're too nice to ride. I wouldn't want to destroy the OEM parts that are on it by having an accident with it. So that's something you got to look at when you're out shopping for a trike. Not saying they're not worth that amount of money, because I think that's what they are bringing. I know of several that have sold in this range. It's just something to consider. This is more for the collector quality versus riding it. So that's my 3 price categories. Additional market factors are the sport quad market's dying. Side-by-sides are taking over. Yamaha is the only new sport quad manufacturer left, which would be the Raptor and the YFC 450s. So this, along with 2020, more people going outdoors due to COVID, the older machines are holding their value better than they ever have. You can't just go buy multiple different versions of new ones. It's you like the Yamaha ones, or you're going to be shopping for used. So that has all brought up the price on 250Rs, 250R quads, 490Xs, you name it. It's played a part in it. So hey, hope you guys enjoyed my video here, just giving my opinion on pricing, and hope that these factors helped you kind of understand some of the current issues going on with 250R pricing. Thanks for watching.